Hey, what's up, everyone? All right, so I've had a ton of you asked about macros and how can I simplify this to make it to where you can understand it? How can you apply it to your daily life? Let's just say that you are on a set meal plan. You leave the work or you leave the house for work that morning. You forget a meal. You drop a meal at work. It goes bad. Whatever happens, right? And we got to do something to make things work. So what do we do? And I'll kind of walk you guys through that today of what I would do, and hopefully this will make a lot more sense to you guys. So let's look at a macro structure here that's going to entail right at 2,000 calories. We got four meals, and I've got the protein, the carbs, and the fats, broken down, from each meal. Now, what's this? This is just a basic meal plan. This is like, eggs, a bagel, chicken, rice with some, avocado oil. This is just a very basic thing. But every single meal that you guys have inside of your app, if you go to your diet tab, click on the diet tab, you can see for each individual meal what each individual set of macros are for that meal. And I do that simply because if you run into an issue like this to where meal three is non-existent, you forgot it at home, it's bad, you dropped it, whatever the case may be, we can still stay on plan for the most part, right? So let's dive into it. So for each meal, obviously the protein, carbs, and the fats are broken down, and you already have that inside of your app. But let's just say that you didn't, right? So, meal one, 42, 42, and 21 fats, and just down the list it goes. So once we look at the totals here, the total protein is 166, the total carb is 155, and the total fat is 176. You times the protein and the carbs both by four, you get your number here. You times your fat by nine, get this number here, and it comes out to be, about 2,000-ish calories, right? It's never going to be spot on point. You got to take into account like fiber and sugar and things like that, but to a degree, it'll be roughly 2,000-ish calories, right? Like if you're, 1968, that's pretty doggone close. That's what, 32 calories off is close. So looking at that, let's just say for the sake of this example, you ate this as soon as you got up that morning, to go to work. You ate this meal about 11 o'clock. Let's just say that about 3 or 4 o'clock you were scheduled to eat meal number three and something happened. You left it in your car at work. You didn't take it out. It's ruined. It's been hot all day. You don't want to eat that stuff, right? So in my mind, I'm immediately thinking, okay, I need 31 grams of protein, 47 grams of carbs, and about 10 grams of fat to make this work. I just don't throw in the towel and say today is screwed up. What can I do? So for me, I'm going to think of two options. What do I have at work with me or at my disposal to help get this in? Or what can I go out and get to make this as close as I can be? So my first immediate thought is okay, one scoop of protein powder that I have here at home, or if you're, I always recommend having things like protein powder, bagels, rice cakes, almond butter, things like that in your locker, in your desk, whatever, at work for moments like these. So my initial thought is okay, a scoop of protein powder is about 25 grams of protein, so that's going to make that pretty close. One bagel is about 45 grams of carbs, so that would about take care of that. And if I had a little bit of almond butter with me, that would equate to that. So excuse me, again, just very small, very simple things to keep at work to keep you on track. But let's just say if you're out and about, you travel a lot for work and you don't have this at your disposal, what could you do? Easiest way to do this is Google a restaurant, Chick-fil-A, something that's easily accessible. Let's look at that now. So now, granted, if you look this up, on your mobile phone, it'll be a heck of a lot easier. But for the sake of this example, this is what we have here. So, just a regular old grilled chicken sandwich, the bun, everything. What you see pictured here is what these numbers are listed off of. So if we go back and look, we're thinking, all right, this thing has 12 grams of fat, 44 grams of carbs, and 28 grams of protein. So if we look at our example here, where we got 31 protein, 47 carbs, and 10 grams of fat. This is our original meal. And we're going to replace it with this grilled chicken sandwich here. So again, we're at 12 grams of fat, we're at 44 grams of carbs, and we're at 28 protein. So just right off the bat, this is pretty doggone close. And you can make this work all day long. So just for the fun of it, let's just see actually how close this is compared to that. So, we're about 3 grams shy on protein. We're about 3 grams shy on carbs, and we're 2 grams over on the fat. So we times this by 4, that's negative 12. That's also negative 12. And this will be, if you times this by 9, that is 18. So we're negative 24 plus 18. We're pretty much 6 calories off, in the negative. And to me, that's pretty doggone good. Now, granted, I'm doing this on the fly. If I mess this up, don't crucify me with that. But just right off the bat, I mean, you can tell that's close. That's close. That's close. To me, that is a very good option to use. Right? It's just something that you can use in a pinch. It's very easy. It's tasty. Now, granted, don't get all the extra sauces. That's going to add to the fat content and it's going to shoot things way up. Now, what do you do if there's no Chick-fil-A around or you don't want to spend, what is it, 12, 13, $14 for a grilled, a number? Well, I guess you're just getting the entree. So still, it might be $7, $8. But if you're at a gas station, what could you do? Again, let's look back at our meal. All right, so we know 31 grams of protein. They have those Fairlife protein drinks at every gas station. They're $2 or $3. They got 30 grams of protein, but your protein's done. What about carbs? All right. Well, they always have bananas, apples, things like that in those gas stations. So you're covered there. You could get a banana and an apple, and those have about 25 grams of carbs in each one of them. So again, you're covered there. Now, for the fat, if you don't want to go out of your way to buy some peanuts or whatever the case may be, you can always move this fat into the last meal of the day, and just call it good, right? So instead of 25 grams of fat in your last meal, you could add 10 grams of fat and put it into that last meal, and you'd be a-okay there. So these meals aren't meant to be set in stone as far as, like, if this grilled chicken sandwich isn't dead on the money here, you can't use it. That's not the case. As long as we're close, right? As long as we're within 100 calories at the end of the day, whether that be up or down, you are totally fine. Now, granted, if you ate this meal perfectly, that meal perfectly, you had to substitute that Fairlife protein shake for here, and you had 10 grams of fat left over, right? And you hit this one perfectly. Well, at the end of the day, you're just 90 calories under, and like I've always said, either 100 over or 100 over is acceptable. So again, you're pretty close, and that is a-okay. So I hope this has helped you guys to better understand, like, what you can do if you're out and about, things like that. Now, I will say, and I hate that it's this way, the app isn't the greatest at like subbing things in and out when it comes to, macros. I would honestly, recommend, if you're doing this a lot, traveling, and having to swap the meals in and out, download My Fitness Pal or Chronometer. That's probably going to be your best one. I know some people use Carb Manager as well too, but me personally, Chronometer is a really good one. They have, the grilled chicken sandwiches. They have the Cliff Bars, and they have everything in there, as to where the app, it's got some of that stuff in there, but it doesn't have everything as like My Fitness Pal or Chronometer has in it. So um you know I hope this made a little bit of sense to you guys. And if you're one of these individuals who just don't even want to use the meal plan in entirety, and you're just like, hey, I just want to go off of these three numbers here, and as long as these three numbers, add up to this, calorie count at the end of the day, I can't really say a whole lot from that as long as your protein goal is hit, and your caloric goal is hit at the end of the day, and you're using quality food sources. Again, you're pretty much on track to me. I have several clients who do that as well too. But for the most part, follow your meal plan. If you get out of line with a meal, just think back. What is the easiest thing that I can substitute this in and out for? The day is not wasted. You can always pivot and keep things going in the right direction. If you guys got any questions with this, please let me know, and I'll help you guys out any way that I can. I'll talk to you guys soon.